Next up at the 2024 DCS Focus on Post event is my friend Karl Soule. He's from Adobe, and he's going to tell us about all the ways they're working in AI into Premiere Pro.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you, guys. I've got something a little bit different planned for today. The word AI gets thrown out a lot. Are you guys tired of hearing AI today? A little bit. At Adobe, we have been focused on the idea of machine learning for quite a while. We were using the branding called Adobe Sensei to kind of be sort of a blanket branding for anything that was using sort of machine learning as a tool. And this is something that's scattered throughout the different applications. There's a lot of interest and a lot of people talking about and interested in learning more about something new called generative AI. And I am going to go kind of deep into that, showcase a couple of features that are in Adobe Premiere Pro. Before I do that, I just wanted to make mention that, there is a new version of Premiere that just came out, version 25. This was showcased at the Adobe Max trade show down in Miami Beach. And there's a lot of new features. I'm not going to go too deep into a lot of the new stuff. Some of the new things that are happening in Premiere now, we have a new properties panel in Premiere. This becomes kind of the one-stop for making adjustments to clips or even ranges of clips. So for the first time ever in Premiere, you can actually select a big highlight of clips, grab a crop effect, and adjust the crop on a wide range of clips without doing any nesting or anything like that. Same thing with positioning, scaling, and other types of properties. So there's a lot in there dealing with that. A lot of different features dealing with transcription. You've heard from just about everybody about dealing with transcription. Really quick, there's filters when you're actually working with clips in a sequence in Premiere. You can work in the source monitor or you can work in the timeline. And when you're doing this, you can actually do things like, if you've ever been looking for like a quick and easy way to get rid of all the ums and ahs, we use machine learning to be able to detect things like this inside of a transcript and provide a quick and easy way of just saying, there's 107 of these. There's 107 edits that I just made. So we're always trying to find ways to use these types of technologies to make editorial faster, to solve these types of problems. And there's a wide range of them that I could go through and show you inside of Premiere. But I wanted to take a little bit. How many here have actually visited the Firefly website from Adobe? That's kind of what I thought. I wanted to kind of make sure you guys are aware of this technology because these features are coming to Premiere, and we're trying to do this in a way that allows generative AI, which is coming whether Adobe releases it or not. It's something that's coming to the industry. And I think everybody needs to kind of be aware of it. And I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what Adobe's approach is towards this and make sure that you're aware of it and show you some features that are actually going to be useful inside of Adobe Premiere using some of this generative functionality. So to get started with this, I'm actually going to jump over to the Adobe Firefly website because this is kind of the one-stop shop. If you're interested in this stuff, if you want to keep up on what is going on in the world of generative AI. From an Adobe perspective, we pretty much start with the Firefly website. The idea being as these features and this technology kind of matures in different ways, we then start moving it into the different applications. Sometimes it goes directly into an application, and there's an example I'm going to show you in a minute with Premiere, where something that kind of skipped over the website a little bit. But for the most part, if you're trying to find out what is new, what is actually going on here, this is a place that you can go to sign up for betas, to test things out in a web page environment. And then when it's appropriate, as the technology matures, it actually ends up in the different applications. A lot of what's going on with the Firefly website today deals with still images. And we're seeing people using this with things like text-to-image prompts, generative fill prompts, where you can make a selection and then say, change this to something different, and it'll do it for you. There's more stuff that's coming on the page here, but something that's very, very important to us that I just wanted to talk about And this is something you can go to the Firefly website if you want to see this in print yourself. We have an approach towards this that we're just trying to get the messaging out. We are really trying to make sure that as these tools evolve, that they are tools for artists like yourself, that they are things that can help you do creative things, not replace creative people. We sell software to creative individuals like yourself. We're very, very committed to that. We've never trained Adobe Firefly on customer content, ever. We only train on content where we have permission to do so. In most cases, this means public domain content, but this also includes content where people have opted in on Adobe stock. So that's our licensing. We don't just randomly pull stuff from the internet in order to train Firefly. We also only train if we've been given permission. We also compensate creators that have allowed us to train on their Adobe stock content. And we've also designed Firefly to prevent it from doing things with copyrighted imagery. If you go to the Firefly website and type in, I want a picture of Spider-Man flying from building to building, you're going to get some horrible man spider because Firefly doesn't know that Spider-Man is a Marvel character that swings around in a red and blue suit. So we're trying to make sure that we can protect IP when we can. We also don't claim any ownership of your content. If you create something with Firefly, it's yours. So if you have any questions about this, you can always go to the Firefly website and check this out. Now, part of Adobe's commitment to this is we've actually helped to start a company or an organization called the Content Authenticity Initiative. This is an organization that has thousands of different partners at this point where we are trying to make sure that there is openness in where content is coming from. So this even includes camera manufacturers. Companies like Leica, other companies have actually come in and actually added content credentials into the cameras themselves just to show provenance. This is an image or this is a video that was shot on this particular camera model. And we're working on ways of making sure that this is robust moving forward. Right now, it's a lot like a nutrition label on the side of a package. You have a choice of using content credentials. So anything that's been generated with Firefly since day one has had credentials attached to it. And I'll show in a little bit, there's actually some tools on this website. If you ever have any question about this, there's actually an inspector where you can drag and drop a file in, and it'll show you what pixels were made by what. So it's not just a matter of just bringing this stuff to market and kind of figuring out and saying, well, we'll figure out, I don't want to say ethicality, but just making sure it's commercially safe, making sure that you can use this stuff in a commercial setting. The Firefly for Video site, we've seen a number of different demo videos. How many here have seen some different demo videos showcasing like Firefly for Video from Adobe? A few hands? Okay. I wanted to reference those because there's been a couple of different videos that have come out this year showcasing what's going on with Firefly for Video. First off, the idea of being able to type in a text prompt for creating a video clip is something that is still on an invite-only beta. You can go to the Firefly website. You can sign up for it if you want to test this out. But the idea is you can actually type in a prompt and Firefly will generate a video clip for you. Typically, it's doing this in under 2 minutes. It's useful if you're looking for a specific shot. You haven't been able to find something on the stock site or other types of stock footage sites, you could actually use this. I've got a lot of different examples that I can show you of how this is designed to work. It is designed to actually work with reference images if you have them. This is a small watercolor sketch that one of my colleagues, Byron, in the UK office, actually drew this, painted this by hand, and wanted to see if he could get his little dinosaur character to pop off the page. I've got a couple of different examples of doing just that. So these are all generated using different prompts. You'll notice that the style of the forest that the dinosaur is walking into, it's a little bit different from shot to shot. That's all based on what you type in, how you type and create the prompts. So this is just one example. I can show you a couple of other ones. This is some reference art that somebody came up with. And again, we're able to take that and create some video clips with this. So basing your Firefly video off of an existing image is one of the things that is possible using this technology. Now we're thinking about and trying to come up with some different methodologies for using this in post-production. In one of the demo videos that came out earlier this year, we announced 3 specific features. One of them is object creation. So let's say we are in post-production, director's not happy with the diamonds in the suitcase. We say add an object, draw a mask, say make a big pile of diamonds, and it will generate that for you. You pick from which one you want, and of course it's tracked into the scene. I'm playing this off of a demonstration video at this point. This is not something that we have brought to market yet. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, where we're at with this. But this was something that was announced back in April of this year. Anybody here ever been in post and seen a Starbucks cup on a table that shouldn't be there? This is another feature that we're working on, something called object removal. This is utilizing a subject selection tool that can remove an object and track that in. So, and in this case, it's even replacing the object with something different, maybe for branding purposes, who knows. So those 2 features are dependent on really, really good masking. Now, we announced a 3rd feature that's not masking dependent. And this is something I can show you because it is in open beta today. Let me go into this section here. How many here have ever started an edit? You find like the perfect clip, but it just ends a little bit too soon. And you've reached the end of, for whatever reason, the camera cut away at that point. You know, any fans of Star Wars here will know Marcia Lucas famously had to take the Tusken Raider shot and rock it back and forth to get a long enough shot for the first Star Wars film. There are always tricks. There's always ways to get around it. What if you could just magically grab the end of the clip and extend it out by another couple of seconds? How many here have ever wanted more room tone? I like the room tone feature even more. It's not pretty. It doesn't have a big visual. But basically what we are working on is a new tool for the toolbar that you'll see down here. This is something called Generative Extend. And the idea behind this is a tool that will let you go beyond the last frame of your clip or the last frame of your edit. You know, how often do we have a situation where we just want to hold on a beat on a person sitting at the end of an interview and the makeup artist runs in before, something along those lines. So wherever your trim point is, this will extend and generate new frames of video beyond that. It works something like this. Grab the end of the clip. Oh, maybe not that one. Let me grab the end of this clip. No, it doesn't want to do, oh, it's because I have the audio selected. 1 second here. I forgot I had turned that off for a reason, and then I turned it back on again. There we go. All right. Let's go back to this. Grab that and extend it out. And you'll see this is going through a bit of a process. Now, the majority of the AI tools that do machine learning, transcription, tools like our audio remix tool, our enhanced speech function, these are all things that actually run locally on the device. In the case of generating video frames, this is a case where we do have to use cloud computing to pull this off. So you can see right now, this is saying it's going through and it's generating the extension. There's a little bit of negotiation with the internet going on to bring down those frames. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to jump ahead to show you what the finished results look like here. Here we've got the bicycle shot. You'll notice that Premiere has handily labeled the AI generated frames for me. So again, it's all about that disclosure, making sure these are tagged with content credentials. Studio policies are changing weekly right now when it comes to the use of this stuff. So we want to make sure that this is something that if you need to generate a report, you can. This example here, I love this shot because you'll notice that there's a shadow falling over the child's arm in this shot. I'll back it up and play it. You can see that it continued the shadow moving as he moves across into the frame. So this is Gen AI frames that you're seeing right here. Here's a close-up shot. And again, it just continues the same camera motion as we had before. Now, the extension for audio works very similarly. I don't have a demo planned of this because playing you room tone I thought would be kind of a, but I just love the fact it will extend and give you up to 10 seconds of room tone by analyzing the bits between somebody speaking and pull that noise shelf out and give it to you as a separate clip. So I think I love that feature above all else because first off, it's very, very safe. And it is something that I think everybody fights with is, did we not get room tone? So that's Generative Extend. Now, I showed you a couple of examples of some clips using that object creation, object removal. We announced them earlier this year. We were hoping to have them done by the end of the year. What we realized is that having simple selections and having the ability to track and really mask objects is something that had so much versatility and uses that we're taking a little bit longer working on the smart selection before we bring you that as a Firefly prompt where you can type something in and say, add this object or remove an object. So the smart masking is something that we showed for the first time publicly on stage at MAX. It's not quite in public beta yet. This Generative Extend is something you can go home from this today, and you can play with this at home in the beta version of Premiere. So Gen Extend is in the public beta. What I'm about to shift over to and show you here is something that it's not yet in beta, but it's coming. What this is a smart masking feature that borrows from the object selection functionality that exists today in Adobe Photoshop, but it works over time. So the idea behind this is I can use this tool, and when I roll it over various objects, it recognizes the object. If I click and select on this, it creates a mask for me of that object. And going into the effect controls, I can then track that forward. So this again was something that we thought this would be great to use with Firefly, but how many can think of other uses for it? I mean, there's so many different uses for a smart masking function like this. Just some quick examples that I have here to show you. This is an example. I wanted to just try like a really, really long shot with this gentleman bouncing around carrying his bicycle. And it does an amazing job of just continuing to track on him I'm applying a monochrome effect and a darkening effect on the background. In this case, I can turn this on and off over here. Up with this clip selected, I can turn this on and off. So very, very quickly, it's given me the ability to kind of have a separation from the background. Here, I'm stacking two clips together so that, I can just kind of focus attention on the subject there. And again, here is that example with the kid. And this is something where, again, I'm applying a monochrome look to the background because this is that, kind of bittersweet moment where the kid has now learned how to ride a bicycle and dad's left in the background. So these are some of the 3 features dealing with generative AI that we are currently working on. I want to leave you just talking again about the importance of the credentialing, just from a standpoint of being able to make sure that you are you're tagging what has been used using Gen AI. There is an option in Premiere to add content credentials that'll write the same credentials into your new file that come from the files that are within that. So timecode ranges of what actually utilized AI. So that if you sell content to a studio, the studio has a specific policy. Again, we really, really try and focus on making Firefly commercially safe. That includes a certain amount of indemnification that we're offering, against, copyright infringement. So there's a, real push to try and make sure that this is a tool for artists. And I consider everybody in this room as an artist in what you do. So that's that. Now, I'm going to jump over to the web page again, and I'm just going to bring up my web browser just to showcase one way of how these credentials work. Now, I've got some of the different clips here. This clip that I've got here, this is an example of the Firefly generated extension. These are the frames that were extended from that one shot that we had. And if I'm on the contentcredential.org website, you can actually take any image, whether it was generated in Photoshop, Illustrator, any of the tools that are doing any type of generation of pixels, you can drag it and drop it into this website, and it will actually tell you where this was generated and what tools were used to generate it. So with content credentialing, we at least hope to try and give people the ability to prove where their content came from. And the hope is in the future, some piece of content that doesn't have credentials is going to be kind of suspect. Does that make sense? It's so hard with devices and with amazing cameras these days. It's like, oh, that has content credentials. Let me just snap a photo of it, or let me record it onto my phone. This is something we're trying to make this as robust as we can. And we're really, really excited to bring this type of tool of technology to market. Thank you, guys.